Have you just filed a workers' compensation claim and now you want to know how long is this process going to take? Is it going to be a quick in and out, or am I going to be here for the rest of my life? I just want a general idea of how long a claim takes. In this video, I'm going to walk you through per segment a normal, simple workers' compensation length. Then I'm going to go through the fast track, the absolute quickest a claim can settle. And then I'm going to go through the slow track, all the time-sucking things that can happen in your case that will add time to your case and slow it down. At the end, I'm going to give you a bonus tip, something that you need to tell your attorney in order to expedite the settlement process. Hello, I'm Naomi from Gonzalez Law. How long is this going to take? Well, to understand that, you need to understand the segments of a workers' compensation case. First, we have beginning until maximal medical improvement or permanent installation. That time period is what we consider the treating phase. From there, we have the settlement phase for settlement negotiations. We have any kind of clarity of reporting, and then we can actually get to a number. At that point, we have your approval process of your settlement, which also can take a little bit of time to get approved by the judge. So we have those three segments. The part that varies, and this is why if you ever ask an attorney, they can never tell you that it's going to be exactly this amount of time, is because the part that varies is the beginning. If you have a twisted ankle, then basically that segment here, that might be 2 weeks and you might be back to work and everything's perfectly fine. If you have multiple back surgeries, that can be up to 3 years or more, depending on how long it takes for all that to happen. The answer to the very first part is it depends on you and your body and your treatment. The next part, once we do have a final report from your doctor, from the neutral doctor, we're going to start trying to set it up for settlement. If both sides agree, then we can just go ahead and look at the numbers. But if either side disagrees, they can do an interrogatory or a cross-examination, and so that might add time to your case as well, which we'll go through a little bit later. A normal length from the time of your permanent and stationary, if there's no major things happening, to the time that you reach a settlement number, that's usually about maybe 4 months. From the time that you reach a settlement number to the time that it is approved, that can be, depending on how quick everybody moves, that can be as quick as the same week, or that can actually be months. It depends on how quick it moves and if there's anything that comes up when they're trying to settle. For fast track, what I mean is a case settles before it normally should. That is, before there's a final report where we have all the final numbers we need for settlement. This usually can happen at a deposition or maybe right before a QME. Now, to do this, we need to have some sort of medical, some sort of educated guess as to what the injury is, what at the end of the day a permanent disability value might be, and what your future medical will be. Now, the pros and cons to this. The pro is you get done, you get finished, you're able to take your medical back and get going with your life. That's the pro. The con is because we are settling early, we may not have the correct estimation because something might pop up later that we didn't know at the time of settlement that actually means that you were more injured than we thought you were. If the pros outweigh the cons, then you may get an early resolution and settle early. The other kind of fast track is if you are going to settle for a nominal fee. Now, this happens usually when your case is very weak, or if there's, for whatever reason, you just need to settle now. Maybe you're moving out of the state, maybe you are going to get your house foreclosed on, whatever personal reason you have, you need to close this case now. Or you just have a weak case and it's not really worth going forward, because if we continue, it's going to make our case even weaker because more evidence goes against you. So in that case, we might settle nominally. In a nominal settlement, you don't actually settle for the value of your case. What you do is you settle more for the value of what the defense will have to pay on litigation. So for example, if they have to get a neutral doctor, that might be $5,000 for them. If they need to get a hearing, that's going to be a certain cost for their attorneys to go appear at that, a deposition, it's going to be the cost there. So whatever cost they might have going for them, what we'll do is we say, hey, let's just settle this thing, and instead of having to pay this cost of litigation, pay us the money and we're going to go ahead and settle. So as you can imagine, those settlements, depending on the strength of the case, they're pretty low, usually anywhere between 0 to 15,000. Average maybe 5,000. It really depends on the case. That is not something that I would recommend unless for whatever reason you really need to do it. Next is the slow track. These are the time suckers, things that can really delay your case. First, they deny your case. This happens quite a bit. Denials are nothing to worry about. However, they do add time. Instead of just starting on your main treatment, we have to send you to a lean doctor, which can only give you limited treatment until we can get you to a neutral doctor. Then we have to perhaps try that case with the AOBCOE trial. And then finally, you get your case accepted and we're almost starting over. The next thing that can add time is multiple surgeries. If you need to do, for example, 2 back surgeries, you can't just do the 2 back surgeries. You're going to do one, maybe have 6 months to a year to recover before you could do the next, and then another 6 months to a year. So it does really take time. Another thing that adds time is when our clients actually stop treating. The doctor orders treatment, maybe it's physical therapy or something else, and they just don't go. They are too busy or for whatever reason, or sometimes they just kind of drop off the map. They just are not responsive, and then that adds time to the case. The next place is QME examinations. If you need multiple specialties. Now, each case is entitled to 1 QME. However, sometimes there's other QMEs that are needed. You might have an orthopedic injury, but you also might have some other injury that you need multiple specialties to look at. So every time you need a new specialty, that's going to add time. Also, once you have the QME back, if you need supplemental reports or reevaluations, those can add time. And the biggest time adder is after you have a final report, if either side is disagreeing and they want to take the cross-examination or they want to do interrogatory. The interrogatories, they have 60 days to respond. So each time you're going back and forth, that's adding that amount of time. If you want a cross-examination, doctors do set those 3 months, 4 months in the future. The other thing that can add time is if your PTP, your primary treating physician, or your QME, qualified medical evaluator, just will not PNS you, make you permanent and stationary. That can be very frustrating because sometimes our clients are ready to settle, but their doctors are just not releasing them. They're just not providing that final report. And so that's something that can add time to your case. To give you a general outline, a normal, simple workers' compensation case will probably take you about 9 months to 2 years to go through the process from start to end. The quickest case I've had was probably about 3 months, and the longest case I have, this is 2021, the date of injury is 2010, and it is ongoing. Bonus tip. If your primary treating physician is telling you something like, oh, I think maybe next time you come here, your next visit, we're going to go ahead and release you from care. If they give you any kind of warning like that, you need to tell your attorney right away. You're going to need a QME evaluation. Usually, QME does not find you permanent and stationary. They're going to need to do a reevaluation. They will usually wait until your treatment's further along, or perhaps when your primary treating physician does release you from care. But let's say your primary treating physician releases you, then we call the QME's office and they're going to say, okay, yeah, we can fit you in 60 days. Well, that's 60 days that you have that has extended your case. I hope you liked this video. If you need information specific to your case, give us a call or text us consult and we'll be very happy to talk to you. Thank you.